Well, hello guys, and welcome back to another Genlock review. In this episode, we're taking a look at Season 1, Episode 5, The Best Defense. So, I've said this a few times in past videos, but whenever you start a show, and I said how a pilot is making a promise that future episodes are going to be good, but whenever you watch something that you just like it. There always has to be a point, usually an entire episode, that wins you over, that makes you go from liking something, thinking it's good, to realizing that it's great, and making you fall in love with it. There's always an episode. And I think this may be Genlock's. For me personally. It's different for everybody. But this is the episode that it got to me, and I was like, yes, this is what I want. This is great. I think I love this show now. It finally did it. It's almost never the first episode, I might as well say as well. But yeah, I now love this show. It finally did it for me. This was pretty great. But we start off, we see the Union army invading, and we see the Holon, let's call it the Dark Holon for lack of a better term for it right now. And it's made out of the nanobots, and we see Cammy, and everything's kind of messed up, and she's running from it, but then she starts to get degrading. It's a dream. Which, yeah, after what happened in the previous episode with her head being ripped off, that makes sense. So we see her, and as they brought up in the last episode, the Holons can be modded. So we see her starting to mod her Holon. We don't actually see anything, but she's just designing it. She's giving it rabbit legs. Again, I want the Holons to be different. I want them all to have their own, unique aspects and styles. And we are going to start seeing that in this episode. I'll bring it up a little later. But yeah, there's a great transition here. I'm always a sucker for scenes like this, where, she's in bed, she rolls over, and then she falls into the tube. It's very silky smooth. I really like it. I'm a sucker for little scenes like that. I like shots where it's just smooth from one thing to another. But we see her doing a training montage, and they specifically bring up that she's far behind the other two. Well, you know what I mean, because the other two are they're more or less military trained. I mean, Kazu was in the Japanese military, and Val's been around the block a few times. Shit. So yeah, Cammy's the one who has no training, so she's far behind. She needs to catch up, and it's kind of starting to get to her. She's also got the Dark Holon on her mind, which we literally see inside of her mind. Here's another trope I'm a sucker for. I like when we go and dig into a character's mind and how it works and how in this thing it's all menus, but we see her going through her memories, and she finds the memory of the Dark Holon, and she goes to delete it. Isn't that the plot to a Black Mirror episode? I feel like there's an entire Black Mirror episode. I want to say Season 1, Episode 3? I haven't watched Black Mirror in a long time. Where it's all about deleting and altering memories. I'm glad she doesn't, because it's that thing where it's, oh, my past makes my pain, right? What am I without my memories?
I don't want my pain taken away. I need my pain.
Instead, she realizes that in the Holon, inside the brain, she's now got access to all of her brain. She can literally make changes. So she boosts her aggression. She boosts her reflexes. And makes all these mental changes. Again, that's some pretty Black Mirror stuff. It does bring up some of the interesting things about the technology. Kind of yeah, you can use it for the robots and whatnot, but you can also do it to make changes to the brain. I mean, it doesn't go so well, obviously. It kind of reminds me of that whole thing with Jurassic Park. Oh yeah, if you can master the human genome to make dinos, can't you use that to cure cancer and whatnot? Never addressed, and of course it isn't. But the doctor rolls with it for a minute, and she has a fight with Kazu, and she kind of loses it. They say because she messed with her mental processes, she created a feedback loop, and it's an aggression thing. And while Kazu thought it was a great fight, of course there is something wrong. And she is pulled out, and she's told off that, oh yeah, you could have... I know they mentioned in a previous episode about how, oh, if you stay in the downtime, if you stay in too long, it'll change your mind. I wonder if that also works here, if that's using up more of her downtime, or if she could, like, permanently change her brain like this. They bring up save state at one point, and that's not a good word to use in this situation. But yeah, we see afterwards, they're like, if you need help, we'll be there for you, right? You just have to let us. Which makes me wondering how they're interpreting it. Because how Cammy is dealing with her head being torn off, you can draw the obvious parallel to PTSD. I don't think it's that extreme, not yet anyways. I mean, I know PTSD is on spectrum and it can affect many different people in many different ways. But in this situation, they talk about how, oh, it's disgraceful to make changes to your brain like that. Based on the situation, that makes me wonder if they're talking down medication. Because medication is useful. Yes, it is drugging yourself, but it can really help people. And that's what makes me wonder, because you can totally interpret this scene like that. And while yes, medication is only part of the thing, having friends and family to rely on is also very important. The way they worded the scene, that's totally a way you could read it. Another way, and the way I think it was intended to read, is her altering her brain is a metaphor for steroids, and that she doesn't need steroids. Her friends can help her be better, which that scans a lot better, but that doesn't mean you can interpret it the other way either. But then they talk about how they have these dreams, and Cammy's dream from the beginning, and how both Chase and Madani have also had weird dreams, and they talk about Val's dreams. Well, this is 100% Cammy's episode. I know I said the last episode was hers, and well, it was more or less split a bunch, the main cast, right? But this was 100% her episode. She got almost all of the character development. But Val's got a great moment here. So I love how open she is. It's just this don't give a fuck attitude that I love. But so they get called to briefing, and the briefing is, of course, the episode's called The Best Defense, and the best defense is a good offense, and vice versa. So they're going on the offensive. This brought up when I mentioned in the last episode how they need to do a Sherman's March. That's kind of what they're starting small. They're going to Atlanta and taking down a factory. It's a start. It's a start. We then get a heart-to-heart moment between Worth and Chase, and as Chase is boosting his affection points back from 0, right? Because he's had to start all over with his affinity trees, but hey, he's working it. And it's mainly about, it's nothing to do with the relationship. Again, I love it. He's given another day, so he's going to seize it. He's going to go out and fight, even if Worth doesn't think it's the best way to live. Which, I mean, does he even live? That's kind of the moral quandaries of this moment. It's really well done. There's some open questions. There's some like, oh, what do we do here? But it's just great character moment. It's very natural. That's what I like about these two, is how naturally they play off of one another. But they head out, and they have all got new gear. But the one I like the most is because they slightly showed at the beginning of the episode. They gave Chase wings. He started off as a pilot, and now he's got wings. He can fly. I mean, it's not perfect flying, as we see in the fight scene here in a minute, but it's flying nevertheless. I've talked about, I want the Hollands to be unique. I want them to get like different designs to be able to easily tell them apart from the color. This is what I'm talking about. The wings instantly set Chase apart. They make him his own thing. I love it. And then, so we cut to this, they think it's a factory, but then they bring in a bunch of people. My first thought was that these were people who were compatible with the Hollands. They're actually Union scientists who have been, or polity scientists who were captured by the Union. And I like, whatever the main scientist is, the one who keeps talking, he's pretty funny. If I remember correctly, he's actually voiced by Sungwon Pro ZD, as you may know him as. Yeah, no, he does a pretty great job. He's pretty funny. But yeah, they rush in, they attack this base. We see them each show off their new gear. Val's got a sniper gun. Madrani has wrist lasers. They make a joke about heat vision later on. That's kind of funny. And then Kazu, of course, has his sword. So now we're getting moments where they're differentiating how they fight. It's a start. I'll take it. Worth is able to get all the scientists, and them and Cammy run out. We get a short little chase sequence against the Spider Walkers. It's short and simple. It's fine. But then after they defeat the Spider Walkers, they stop because the Dark Holon is there. And of course, Cammy freaks out. Madrani jumps in. And then we get a moment where Cammy's freaking out. But again, this calls us back to helping. And let your friends help and all that. But it's also, Val doesn't have a shot. So Cammy and Val sync up 2 brains into 1. And during this moment, we see inside both their minds. And that does answer the question from the previous episode. But it didn't really fucking matter, so who cares? But they're now synced up into one being, so now they can see through each other's eyes, and they speak, they become we. It's one of the unique things about this that I haven't seen that many mecha animes, but in the ones I've seen, they haven't had this sort of mental sync. So it's a nice twist that it's the unique thing the show needed. And I'm glad they have it, because it's really interesting, because we see them, Cammy's got this drone, and we see Val use the drone to look through the smoke to snipe the robot, the Dark Holon. That's really cool. That's the unique angle that I like. That's what I was waiting for. But then Chase comes in and he starts attacking it. Kazu comes in and starts attacking it. So the Dark Holon is able to talk, but its voice is really weird and distorted, and I could barely understand what it was saying. Luckily, subtitles exist. So what it talks about how Cammy talks too much, but then the main thing and the important one to take away, which again I couldn't hear, I had to rewatch the scene with subtitles to get it. It's let the good times roll, which of course I made a joke last time that I figured it was, is it Sinclair? The one guy that Blaine was. But it was either him or it was the original guy that Blaine had killed. Like, they had kept him along. But now that we get this line, my new guess, it's the sister. I know, because, we didn't see the I know I said I was sad that they were dead. That may or may not be true. Again, we haven't seen the body, even though it could work either way. But, I mean, if Chase is compatible, the sister could also be compatible. And I could totally see it. She was captured by the Union and forced into these experiments, and now they've turned her into this. And maybe they'll rescue her. I know the voice doesn't match up at all, but it's still totally a possibility, and I think that would be really interesting. But that's just my theory. We shall see. But they fight off the Dark Holon. They're able to rip 2 of its arms off. And then it's able to escape because a Union ship shows up. My question, I'm assuming that means the Dark Holon was stored at the facility, because other than that, they knew the Union was going to attack. So it could go either way. And yeah, that's where the episode ends. I keep mentioning at the end of these episodes where I'm like, next time things are going to be different. Next time they're going to start focusing on the giant robots and put the character stuff to the background. We're over halfway through. That's not happening, and I am so happy. I love the character bits in this. I love the characterization. I love Cammy, man. So that's why I'm finally that's not going to happen. The characters are at the stage front. They're going to stay at the stage front. I know I'm jinxing myself. Knock on wood. I think we're going to be good, and I can finally this did it for me. There's just Cammy's character development. She's the heart, and yes, I am biased towards the heart. But I think they did a great job with her. I think they did a great job explaining her situation. I know the metaphor they're going for, so I'm just going to roll with it, even though I totally see how they could do it the other way. The character interactions were great. There was a lot of great moments. I think the fight scene at the end was really neat. I love the syncing thing. There's so many great things in this show. I can finally say I love it. My hope is so if this episode was focused on Cammy, my hope is the next episode is focused on Kazu. He is the one we've seen the least of, so I want to see some more of him. I feel like I have the least grounding for him. So hopefully they'll do that next time. I hope you all enjoyed. Stay tuned for more. Until next time, peace.